Hello everyone, welcome to From the Void, episode 5. Let's start again. I can't stop it. I can't stop it.
Yellow flag, false start, 5-yard penalty.
Oh man, I keep thinking that, no, right, we'll just go. Hello everyone, welcome to From the Void podcast, a show all about Eternal and our experiences with the game. I am Navilis, one of your hosts. With me, as always, is Bassoon. How are you, man?
Good morning. It is me, Bassoon Buffoon, on a morning where nothing has gone wrong and everything is going exactly as we planned it to go. I'm very excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. And also, we have a special guest with us. We have TonyGeeeee. How are you? Let me say it again. TonyGeeeee. There we go. Okay. How are you?
I heard all 5 of those E's. That's important.
Yeah,
yes.
TonyGeeeee.
You have to have 5 E's.
Oh.
So, how are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me. It's super nice.
Awesome. Thanks for sticking with us. I know we're starting a lot later, but like you said, everything went right this morning, so we're good. Let's go on. Let's talk about our week in Eternal real quick. Bassoon, how was your week in Eternal? How was the ladder treating you, the meta, everything else?
Great news, guys. I've doubled my amount of Masters points this week. I'm currently sitting at 1,400 Masters points, so get at me.
Very nice, very nice. What deck have you been playing? Just real quick here.
Just memes on streams. I've been playing some Skycrag Ramp. I played some Fire, Time, Shadow, Kaifus. Basically, any deck I can put Kaifus in, I've been playing. Kaifus is so fun.
Kaifus is a very fun card. Very... Not RNG heavy. I guess it's RNG, but it's an awesome card though for what it does. It's like limited RNG because you know kind of what you're gonna get. But anyway, let's go on. TonyGeeeee, what have you been doing? How's the ladder been treating you? What have you been playing?
Oh boy, I think I was top 10 at the beginning of the week, and then I dropped down to like 200, trying some stuff out, and
that's
now...
20 times as much. Good job, Tony.
Yay! And then I'm slowly climbing back up with Felm. I mean, there's Kaifus in it, right? So I have to be doing something, right? But yeah, I mean, the ETS was nice. Besides that, it's a pretty big fall, and I haven't had a lot of opportunity to play, to jam a lot of games this week. So I'm not exactly rusty, but I'm not in my best form.
Gotcha. And so I've been doing pretty well. I'm sitting around the 700 mark and Masters, and just been messing with the Haunted Highway deck, messing with this Combray deck, just kind of like messing around to see what I want to play and see if I do want to push for a higher rank, but I'm just having fun and enjoying it right now. Alright, let's go into, I guess this is where Bassoon, he wants to ask us some Halloween questions, because guess what? Halloween is next week, and he's like, guys, I got some questions for you, and so he's gonna throw them out there. Go ahead, Bassoon, go for it.
It's time for us to do a Halloween. Boys and girls, settle in. You paid for the whole seat, but you're only gonna need the edge during these spooky Halloween-themed questions. Question number 1. What is the best Eternal-themed costume for the gamer on a budget?
Ooh, who do you want to go first, me or Tony?
Whoever has an answer to my question.
I will take this one. I thought about this, and I'm thinking, go as a gunslinger. There's plenty of gunslingers in it. It's very cowboyish or cowboy.
You literally just wear a hat, yeah.
You know, throw a vest on, throw a couple of, guns on your hips. You know, it depends on where you are. Fake ones, like get the toy ones that you put like those little cap things that make little like the powder noise. You know what those things are? I forgot what they're called.
Yeah.
The cap guns. Anyway, those are awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of different outfit ideas for gunslingers. So when you look at it, it's just like either a long like trench coat, jacket, hat. I believe even you can go as like the merchant. The shadow merchant. What's this called? What is he called?
Herondon merchant.
Yes. Even you can go as him. He looks like a very gunslinger type. You can be very sinister looking. So that's my answer. If you're on a budget, I would say if you want to spend in between around $50. You probably could do it for $50 and look like a gunslinger.
$50? That's not a budget costume. What are you doing? All right, Nablus confirmed rich.
Oh, you know, if you don't have that much,
no, you see how much costumes are. If you go and buy a costume, you're gonna spend like.
I built my Halloween costume with a small $1 million loan from. All right.
I walked into a Halloween store.
1%er.
I walked into a Halloween store. Most of their costumes are like 60, 80, 90. They're expensive now these days. Anyway, that's besides the point. Go
Tony,
ahead.
give the people a real budget costume.
Okay, so you guys have seen on Reddit, right? The guy that dressed up as Icaria, that seemed to be a very cheap costume.
For anybody who doesn't know what he's talking about, Duncan Wren, an esteemed tournament organizer for Team Rankstar, has an amazing Icaria cosplay picture that is made almost entirely out of cardboard.
That was very good. Also, if you want to dress as Vera, girls that had a goth phase, just reuse these things, right? You have all this leftover, you know, black eyeliner and stuff like that, and you have like your goth kind of outfits. So there you go. You got like a quick Vera, and you used your old clothes. So you know, I think it's a win-win.
You're upcycling it. I like it. You're both wrong, however.
Mm-hmm.
The cheapest Eternal-based Halloween costume is the card Mindfire, because you just have to do this. And that's your whole costume.
Oh man, if you go in a party, like, oh, what are you dressed as? Oh, the, you know, Eternal card game? No? Well, there's a card that's very play. It's called Mindfire. What?
My favorite part is that even Eternal players don't know what Mindfire looks like.
Oh wow.
It's a very niche, a very niche costume.
Okay, question 2. Which Eternal character would give out the best candy to trick-or-treaters on Halloween?
I have one.
Go for it.
Tony spoiled his answer. It's easily the best answer.
It's the smuggler stash guy. He comes here with his long ass mustache and he's like, "Hey, you want some candy? This one's as good as new."
Good as new. They're like full size.
Oh yeah.
Smuggler stash guy gives away king size candy bars.
Oh, of course.
No fun sizes. These
You
are
might
dice
die
size.
eating the smuggler stash guy's candies, but you know it will be.
You get like equal odds to get like a really good premium candy bar or a razor blade.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Nablus, what do you got?
I said any of the merchants except for the Shadow Merchant, because I wouldn't trust anything from him. He would be like trying to poison his candy or something. But I just think about it, like the candy they get from other countries, you know, other places they're bringing in. I'm just like, you know, like the variety. I mean,
Adventurous, foreign candies. I like it.
You know, you never know what you're gonna get. You just like, you know, and
Some
so
of those delicious Genev treats.
Exactly. So that is my answer.
And then you
Any
can
of the
mirror image
merchants.
the candy.
What was that?
And then you can mirror image the candy.
Yes. Yes, I know. Like you can just multiply the candy. Just think about it. Like, you know, think about this also. If you go to a house to get really bad candy, you go to the merchant and give her or him that candy, and they give you better candy. And so, I mean, you know, someone gives you.
And then, like, you can dress up as Jesus Christ, and then you multiply the candies, and everything works out.
Whoa! Mind blown.
Oh, wow.
I'm glad neither of you fell for the trap of picking Genetrix Irex. Because though she is a grandma, I think you have equal odds of getting good candy or, like, gross, bad, hard candy. So...
It's true. Apples.
Yeah, you can't trust these grandmas out here sometimes giving away Halloween candy.
For sure. You gotta be careful, very careful of that. And so you might get like some nasty hard candy or who knows what else. Yeah. Anyway, so
okay,
bags of nature chips.
Like sun chips. That's not even candy, Grandma.
Oh wow.
Okay.
All right. Anything else we want to add to that? Oh yeah. Go ahead, Basoon. Sorry, we have one more question.
Question number 3. Sit back, boys and girls. Let's weave you a terrifying yarn. You two, tell me what the plot of your eternal horror movie would be.
Okay, I got one.
Go for it.
All right, Tony.
Stuck on 2. You see? Okay, so what happens is that you see an okay opening hand and you're like, I want to go for a better one. So you click the redraw button.
Oh,
and
no.
then you see a 2 power redraw and you're like, okay, it's fine. You know, the dread settles in, but it's fine because you have hope you're going to draw some power down the line, and you don't.
No! That's like an episode of The Twilight Zone. That's like when the guy drops his glasses and can't read anymore.
For me, my plot for an Eternal horror movie would be, it'd be kind of like the whole Yu-Gi-Oh setup, like you're facing off against someone and you have like your cards in your hand, so when you play them, you know, they become whatever characters, whatever, and stuff like that. But as you're going through this maze to get past like parts of the maze, now I'm going deep here with it, is like every time you do something, is like there's an answer for it, and you can't get anywhere. So you're going like in a circle endlessly, but these monsters and these creatures just keep popping up, and every time you put something out to deal with it, they do something else to deal with that. And then you're always on the back foot, and eventually you get crushed. And that would be a horrible thing. And especially if there was like a treasure chest at the end of the maze or something like that you could get for like $1 million. And yeah.
Okay, so just to clarify,
yes,
your Eternal horror movie is a spooky horror maze, but eternal.
Yes. That's eternal.
Jesus Christ. All right, sit back. Now's the time. Let the master work, okay?
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Bassoon.
All right. It was a day like any other. I'm leaning into my microphone right now. Is the sound okay?
It's fine.
Yes, it's fine.
It's a nice fall day, brisk weather. Such a good day. You come home. You load up your favorite Eternal card game. Time to win some ranked points with your favorite mid-range deck. You see a notification. You click it. Updates. New cards? Influence store? What could it be? You click the patch notes, and they read as follows. We feel that mid-range strategies have become too oppressive. To remedy this, we've decided to make harsh rule fast speed. No! All right.
Okay.
Happy Halloween.
Oh man, that would literally destroy the. Okay, yes, that was a horrible. Why are they always leaving five power open? It's always harsh roll. It's always harsh roll. Imagine if you could like mirror image like spells, so you could just like have multiple harsh rolls, and you know, oh man, that's a horror story too.
Okay. Yeah, game.
All right, let's move on here. Those are great. So we hope you enjoyed our Halloween segment that Bassoon put together and had some good answers and some pretty lame answers. Yes, but it was all good. Mostly the lame answers were me. But that was the horror story there. All right, let's go on to going with Halloween and everything else. We have the Carnival of Madness event happening tomorrow. Yes, if you're listening to this on Thursday, but if you're listening to this on Friday, it'll be happening very soon. This one right here is at the start of each game, a random boss rule goes into effect. So so basically, if you think of like the gauntlet bosses that have certain rules, that's what I'm getting. That it's kind of like that. There'll be a certain rule every game that both of you have to go by. And then the event costs, as usual, 2,000 gold or 200 gems to enter. The run consists of 7 wins or 3 losses. And each run and your overall position on the leaderboards will reward your prizes. Your first 5 runs determine your position on the event leaderboard. And this begins Friday, October 26th, and it'll last through November 2nd. So they're giving us a good time to do this. And then one last thing. If you spend 900 gems, or that's about $10 usually, you get the Pale Rider Premium Avatars, which is pretty sweet if you look at them here. And if you go online and look at them, it's pretty exciting. So what do you guys think of this? Are you guys excited to try this out, have fun with it towards the end of the season? Or
yeah, it'll be a good thing for my stream. I'm just going to stream my runs and laugh at how the random garbage that happens. How about everybody says their favorite gauntlet boss rules that they hope they get?
Ooh.
Tony, what's yours?
I don't even know what the guns are.
Are you even Masters in Gala right now?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
Wait. So there was one that's all of your units have charge.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know the other ones. I literally don't know. So I'm gonna go with the charge one because that's the only one I know.
Nice.
I was thinking the one I like that makes it really random but can be really frustrating is every time you play a unit, you get another unit of the same cost. And
that one is a spell. Every time you play a spell,
it's a spell. No, right. Okay, the spell. Sorry, got confused. But yes, that one. So you play a spell, you get a unit. That just makes for, I don't know, that'll make for some interesting battles, I think, especially if it's a spell, because it depends on how many spells it might give control decks. If you're playing a control deck, you just lucked out because every time you play, you know, one of your spells, you get a minion. But if you're more of an aggro or mid-range deck that doesn't have a lot of spells, you kind of, I don't know. I think it'd be kind of cool just to see what happens, especially if it's like, it has a little variance, and I think that'd be kind of cool. What about you?
The correct answer is the one that makes unit you draw get a random battle skill. It's basically both players have a crown of possibilities in play.
And then you play Kaifus and you have 4 skills.
Yeah, let's go, baby.
Boom,
your Kaifus
right
rolls
there.
get better because there's one less to tick off.
Oh man. Then you just dark return it and everything else. Okay, let's go.
You're giving away my whole strategy.
Yes, sorry. So if you play against Buffoon in the event, be wary of Kaifus. Okay. Now let's move on to the other news we have. The Direwolf Digital Tournament Test Event, the reunion. What did you think of it? Because they bumped it up from 3 runs to 4 runs for your overall, leaderboard finish. And Bassoon, I know that you made it. Congratulations. You made it to the top 32. That was pretty sweet.
Thank you.
And so I'm going to ask both of you. What did you guys bring? How did it go? What do you, the changes, what do you want to see changed about it? Since this is like the second time they've done it. So we'll start with you, Tony G. What do you think about this?
Tony, tell us how your runs went.
Yes.
I don't know how they went.
Yes, I'm curious.
You absolutely know how they went. Okay, so I think it was like, it was maybe like 11 in the afternoon, and I was in a voice chat with a lot of SPG guys, Best and Buffoon included, and I wasn't sure, I was on the fence if I wanted to play in this one, because like I knew that I was going to punt and then be very mad. So I listened to my teammates, which turns out was a grave mistake, and they told me, hey, just play Haunted Highway, right? Because we just, like, Overmaster was, just played it, and we were in, everybody in the chat just, like, talking about lines and stuff like that. So we're like, hey, man, we just did well with Haunted Highway, so why don't you play it? And I was like, okay. And then everything turned very badly. I think I lost my first 2 games, and then I was very tilted, and every time I queued into a matchup, Overmaster was like, oh yeah, this is a very bad matchup for you. And like, really? So yeah, I went, I don't know, like 3-3 or 4-2 in my first run, and then I was like, oh, screw this, I'm just gonna play FJS, and then I went like 3-3 or 4-2, and I was like, okay, I'm done.
At least you didn't go like 6-0 with FJS though.
Oh,
that would have tilted
I
you.
would have been tilted. But yeah, I'm just not very good at these kind of things usually, so I like knowing what I'm up against, so yeah, it didn't go super well. But I think, BB, your runs were much better, right?
Yeah, I went 18-5 in my, right? Yeah, 19-5 in my games. I played Argentport mid-range. It was tuned to a meta that stopped existing as soon as I finished my runs, so I'm glad that I did mine early. I did my runs like in the first 2 hours of the event, right before GHP. Like GHP and I finished around the same time, and then he tweeted like, "Oh, I went 22-2 with this Haunted Highway Scream deck," and I'm so glad that I didn't try and do my runs after he popularized that, because the deck I played would have lost aggressively and quickly to it. So I got a little bit lucky as to when I decided to do my runs, but So over the night I sat down and decided, like, between Saturday and Sunday, well, I can't play this deck into a field that with very popular Haunted Highway lists. So I decided to try and tune a Skycrag aggro list to the meta I thought I would see.
Cool. It's on the screen, by the way. I threw it up on the screen, so.
Oh, cool.
I am working on it. So go ahead and talk about it a little bit. What was your... So you said Skycrag aggro is a pretty favorable matchup against Haunted Highway?
It is, yeah. Haunted Highway, their really explosive turns happen like turn 5, 6, 7. They're not a deck that can play on curve because all their power is depleted because it's a ridiculous deck. But so one of the best ways to beat it is just to go under it with like extreme aggro. So if you look at the deck, I have 10 1-drops. I have the playset of Permafrost. I have 2 Entangling Vines for extra stun. My secret forbidden tech is the 2 Islands Interventions I put in the deck. They counter 3-cost spells, or they deal 3 damage to a flying unit. So the Madness is blanked, and the Screamed Queens, Screamed Crunches, Screamed Champions of Fury, and Screamed Highwaymen all die to Islands Intervention. So it's an excellent card in the matchup, even though I have like very minimal Yetis in the deck. The other 2 modes on the card are very good. But all my planning was for naught because my first round opponent was playing a Time Justice Shadow Mask deck with a ton of lifesteal, and they beat me handily and immediately, and then immediately lost to Scream because, of course, that deck loses to Scream.
Yes. So, well, we are glad you made it to the top 32, though. I was excited when I saw that you hit it. I was like, yes. I was like, that is pretty cool. So, congratulations on that, though. You got some packs and everything. So, I mean, nice little consolation prize, right?
Yeah.
So cool. Anything else? Let's see. Let's move in here. We're gonna move on to the. We had the ETS tournament this past week too, and there was a couple lists that TonyGeeeee wants to talk about. I'm gonna get rid of the list here. Hang on. There we go. All right, Tony, you want to talk about your what is it? The FJS list versus Cranky Pandas. The difference between. So, which one do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about your list first, or do you want to talk about Cranky Pandas?
I can talk about mine first, since like timeline-wise, mine was played before him. Not saying that he, was influenced or anything, but just like I played this on Saturday, and we saw Cranky Panda's deck on Sunday, right? So maybe there's like.
We haven't said it out loud yet, but just so anybody who is in the dark of it, this Cranky Panda list that we're going to be talking about is the one that won the Direwolf tournament.
Yes, that is correct.
I found it interesting because we had 2 very, very different approaches to FJS, and I found that very interesting.
Cool. All right, Tony, I threw your deck on the screen, so go ahead.
Cool.
I will follow your lead. Go ahead.
So the FJS I brought I feel like is a bit more like a time mid-range deck, right? As in, you just play very good statted units on curve, but, what you do differently compared to time mid-range is that you have effective and very efficient removal. So you have things like Torch Annihilate, Slay, and when you need it, Harsh Rule, and you have access to Cookbook, so you can draw more cards and grindy matchups. And of course you have Runehammer, which is, in my opinion, one of the most broken cards in the game. So what I liked about this kind of version, and I played it to the ETS beforehand, and I had a nice result as well. So I just tweaked it a little bit when we decided that Kaifus was just absolutely broken. So yeah, I liked it because I feel like overall this deck has nice matchup against everything. In the top 8, I lost to Paradox 3-2, right? So that was a very, very close one. And I feel like this list can be tweaked to be better against Scream. Like you could have some sabotages in there, and you could have some other kind of removal. If you don't need harsh rule as much, maybe you cut it and you add something else. So like,
which is a reasonable thing to do into a Scream meta, right?
Yeah. Like right
harsh rule is terrible.
Yeah, like what deck is harsh rule good against? Time mid range, Cumbre, something. Right now that's about it, right? Time mid range isn't very popular, and Cumbre something is like dying down super hard because of Vera. So maybe it's time to remove harsh rule for other spot removal or other interactions or stuff like that. So maybe that could be it. I haven't played a whole lot of this deck since the top 8 because I wanted to shift direction for next week, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I felt like all around that was a very effective deck because when you're against a very removal-heavy deck, you have so many threats that you're going to be able to grind them out. And worst case scenario, you have Kaifus and Daisho as your top end, and you have Cookbook to further advance your grinding out. So yeah, I was very, and also it's like a very easy deck to play, so your likeliness of doing mistakes is lessened. And you compare that to Cranky Panda, who has it's like FGS control, right? Mine is FGS mid-range, and his is like control. And he has the removal sets are very we're very similar in our removals, except he has Vanquish and I have Annihilate. And I'd be very curious to see why he likes Vanquish over Annihilate, because when you're against Veras and things like 2-drops in Scream are usually annihilatable, except for Champion of Fury. But yeah, I feel like Annihilate still has a lot of things that it hits. So I'd be curious for the Vanquish thing. And only 2 Maidens, well, 3 with 1 in the market. I'd be very curious to see why, because I feel like if this deck seems to be targeting Scream, and I feel like Maiden is like your MVP most of the time. So yeah, I'd be curious to see that. But I like the Sabotage and Setback. 2 and 2 split I'm questioning, because I feel like if you really want Setbacks, then maybe you want more than 2, and if you really want Sabotage, maybe you want more than 2. So having a split might put you in a situation where you really want to use the Sabotage effect, but you only drew the Setback, so you're very tempo negative in what you want to do.
But Cranky has said publicly that the devastating Setback change was because he had 4 in the qualifying runs, and he went down to 2 because it's bad against Scream.
Yeah, okay, I see. But yeah, overall, I don't know why you would want the end of the story. Like, why would you want a 5th harsh rule effect? Like, which deck do you really want that against? I'm questioning that as well. But overall, I feel like the core of this FGS deck is very, very strong. Cookbook for these 4 drops, the removal suite, Ixton Merchant, and a late game payoff like Rizad or Icaria, or both, I feel like is going to be moving forward the core FGS part. And you can go a bit mid-range, a bit more mid-rangey, a bit more late gamey if you want, but I feel like those kinds of cards are going to be absolutely needed going forward. If you want to go Vanquish or Annihilate or both, that's your prerogative. I feel like Annihilate is a bit more effective. But yeah, overall, I'm really curious about are those 2 archetypes going to work in the same meta, or is one going to push the other one? I don't know. I really don't know. And I'm not sure if FJS is in a very good spot. Like, we've seen Cranky Panda, win his 2 Scream matchups, but still, those were very, very, very close games. It could have gone either way. So I'm curious as if you really want to counter Scream, do you really want to go FJS, or do you want to go some other factions? You know, maybe Desert Marshal is a more effective way to beat Screen than Sabotage is. So yeah, I don't know going forward, but I really liked the differences in our both of our versions, and yeah, I wonder, did you guys have any thoughts about, like, do you feel not exactly if one is better than the other, but will one withstand a test of time more than the other?
I think the longer people are playing control decks in this game, I think we're just realizing that when you ask the question about do you want the fifth harsh roll, like you just do that. Just running your opponent out of stuff to do, and that's basically what you're just one for Xing them, right? I don't think there's, if your opponent is playing like a unit based game, you want as many harsh rolls as you can, and you feel less bad about blowing them on like one unit, you know. And so. Yeah, whether or not this many harsh rule effects should exist in the game is like another, at the same time at least, is another topic of discussion. But I think having a card that can one for infinity card advantage your opponent is just too good not to have as many of as your deck can handle having.
True. Yeah, I think that with, especially on ladder, it's the tournament meta is sometimes a little bit different. Just with harsh roll is just a good catch-all, especially if you, since like with the FJS you have Vara in the deck now to help deal with all the Aegis units that run around and everything. That just kind of like coming down on turn 4, then you do have harsh rule just in case, you know, that kind of like eliminates a lot of that stuff. I found that very, very helpful. And plus, like, I think also with all, like, because I think we're because we have harsh rule, then end of story, and I think leave a witness is another like harsh rule effect, I believe. Yeah, that's 7 though. But I think after whenever rotation is, harsh rule is gone, and so it'll, whenever, it could be December, it could be next year, it could, I don't know when that's going to be. We should talk about that in an episode sometime. When do we think this set's coming? Anyway, but I think that right now it's kind of like you have the most cards right now, kind of like with Magic the Gathering. If you ever play that, like towards the end of a rotation, you have like sometimes control decks are really, really powerful because they have everything at their disposal. And then when like a rotation happens, control's not as powerful sometimes because they lose a lot of the stuff. So I think right now we see an overrepresentation of harsh rule, but I'm very interested to see how the meta would look like without a harsh rule in it, and like with end of story at like 6, because that's like a turn, one more turn. So, but I think right now, I think the deck is pretty good. I played, I think it was yours, Tony's, that I played a variation of it on the ladder from like Diamond, like from Diamond 3 to like Diamond 2 or Diamond 1 or something, and it was like, it was pretty effective for what I was facing. And so it's a decent deck. Vara is a really good card. It's helped that this type of deck out a lot. So
I have one more question for Tony before we move on to the next segment. So looking at your deck, you built it in a pre-Haunted Highway dominated world.
Yep.
You said the matchup is pretty good, but in a world where people are playing this Cranky Panda deck and Haunted Highway, those are the two things I'm seeing more than anything else right now. What changes would you make to the deck?
Sabotage for sure. Like,
you just want the playset?
Yep. Probably cut the, if those are the two decks I'm really worried about, I cut the harsh rule for 4 sabotages. I feel like my version is favored against Cranky Panda's deck, just because things like Daisho is gonna destroy him, and I feel like Kaifus rolls, like he barely, the only way Cranky Panda deals, or this deck deals with Kaifus going back again and again and again, is Maiden into Vanquish or Maiden into whatever. So if that doesn't happen, Kaifus will just win the game, right? Because you play Kaifus and then you play Dark Return into Kaifus, and like the game is very close to being over. If you got a like charge in the first one, then you're very, very likely to have Berserk or double damage or both, or unblockable or whatever, and then you can put the pressure very, very heavily. And I feel like his threats don't very end up being good against mine because like Vera gets hit by Annihilate, Slay, but not Harshul if we remove it. But like same for Maiden, and then afterwards like Rizan, who same thing, right? Like I can just save a Runehammer forever and I'm good. And yeah, sure, like I feel like I kill him before Ikaria actually matters. Like he could play Ikaria on turn 8, but then I just like Dark Return to Kaifus and kill him. So I feel like this version is already pretty good against FGS control. I haven't played a whole lot of this matchup, but I feel like it is, and yeah, if you add in the sabotages, then you should be fine.
Cool.
So I honestly, I feel like there's a few slots in that FGS mid that could be bounced in and out. Like if you don't like Kaifus, you could remove the Kaifus and Dark Return and add in some other stuff like Rizan, and then you have 2 other slots or 3 other slots for sabotage, right? So
yeah,
that could be it. I feel like Kaifus is just better than Rizan in that deck, but that's just my opinion. So yeah, I feel like Sabotage would be the first card I would add in if I'm very scared of those two decks. I think that would be very easy to implement. I'm not sure about cutting Harshul. I've tried before, and that was kind of bummer. But as I said, if those are the 2 prominent archetypes that we predict or that we see, then Harshul is an easy cut.
Rad. Awesome. Thank you for your insightful and good answer. Usually we just do memes here.
Yeah, no,
I'm just a tryhard, so it's like in the gauntlet answers, I was like, I got nothing for you guys. I'm sorry.
No, that was awesome. Thank you, Tony. All right, let's go on to our podcast reviews and listener questions. All right, I'm going to throw these questions out there. You guys can chime in and answer them. The first one is from Syrup Waffles on Twitter. And so that is a great screen name. I love it. What are the must-craft legendaries and automatic dust legendaries? And he says, I guess I want to know what legendaries are in most of the meta decks. And, well, what would you give him? What advice would you give him on that? About legendaries and dusting legendaries?
Do you have any thoughts on this, Tony?
Yeah. So the first question you have to ask yourself is, what do you like playing, right? Because we can go on and say like, oh, craft Titan for sure, but if this player doesn't like playing time range, then don't play Titan, don't craft Titan, right? So like, do you consider yourself like, do you like aggressive strategies? And if so, maybe Bandit Queen could be one. If you like playing big statted units one at a time, then maybe Titan could be some kind of legendary you can craft. If you like more control-ish things, then maybe Sword of Sky King, because like usually control decks don't have a whole lot of legendaries except for this FJS one. So like you could go on a bit like temporal kind of thing. Temporal is like it's pretty much dead, but it's still effective.
Well, it's a pretty cheap deck to craft too. Yeah. The temporal is the only legendary in the deck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So first question is like, what do you like playing? And then like if you like aggro, right now the most effective aggressive cards that are legendary are Bandit Queen, Vicious Highwayman for sure, and it can slot into a Stone Scar aggro and into a Scream deck very easily. If you like mid-range, then you have to decide, right? Because there's a lot of very good mid-range legendary units. You can go time mid-range, therefore, like, time mid-range is usually very costly because the big units are usually legendaries, right? You have Titan, you have 5 and a 6, 7, and then you have, like, all of the other ones, but those are the most prominent ones. So if you want to go on a budget, maybe going, like a Rucano mid-range is a bit less pricey, so you could have, like, Rizan, and then you have, like, your Vulcan Forcer, and maybe you want to go a melee, maybe you don't. It's not like an insane card, but it's still good enough. So yeah, I feel like on a budget, maybe Rakano midrange is actually it's putting out more better results, and it's cheaper usually. You can go like this FJS mid that I have it has a whole lot of legendaries like Maiden. But Vera and Tavrod are, they are from adventures, so if you already have those, then it's pretty easy, right? Because then...
Actually, Maiden is the only legendary in the deck.
Exactly.
Well, you have a Razan in the market.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's this this version might be a bit cheap if you already have the adventures. But you need 3 adventures, right? You have Quarry from the first one, you have Tavrod from the second one, and you have Vera from the third one. So be careful about that, because that might be, adventures might end up being more pricier rather than actually crafting legendaries. So it depends on what you want to do as well. So yeah, that would be kind of an overview on what to craft. What not to craft? Holy hell, there's a whole lot of bad legendaries. Like, everything that costs 9 or more is basically auto dust. And it's like we could go on and on. We could go like for 30 minutes thinking about bad legendaries, but usually like the trick is go to on Eternal Warcry, type out the card that you just got, see if it's played in actual good decks, not meme decks, and then you're good to go, right? If it's not played, usually it's safe to dust. If you are thinking about the long-term plan, then don't dust anything. But if you want to craft a good deck right now, dust everything that's not good.
Yep. Cool. I think that's fair.
That sums it up. The next question is still from Syrup Waffles. It is, what is everyone's favorite premium card? Real quick, do you have a favorite premium card? Does anyone? Yeah. I'll go first real quick. I'll just say Heart of the Vault. I have one of those. I opened one and it's just awesome. It's like this guy is standing, or guy or girl standing on like this podium, and there's just like this huge creature, and it's like shiny and it's like swirls, and it's just like, it's really cool. It's like someone found like, this, I don't know. It's pretty cool. It's just like cool looking piece of art and everything. So when I got that, like I said, I'm never dusting this, and I've been tempted to, but I'm like, it's just so cool though. I can't. So that's my favorite, Heart of the Vault.
Oh yeah, there's like a disco ball as well in the center. So
it's just
the heart of the disco.
The heart of the disco. You get mesmerized. You stare at it long enough, and you just like forget where you are for like 30 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh man, there's one that's really good, and I'm trying to remember what it is.
All right, we'll come back to you, Tony. Do you have one?
Yes, Star Steel Dice Show. It's my all-time favorite card, but I feel like the foil is so nice. It's like there's fire in the background, and then like in the center there's like a shiny thing, and it's just so pretty. I love Dice Show, and I love this foil is by far the best one. I feel like Icaria is not so good. I don't like Icaria foil, but Dice Show, man, is oh, so pretty.
That's great.
I can't remember the name of the card that I'm thinking of that has a really cool visual effect. Oh, I think it's actually okay. So I have 2. There's Scrap Tank. Scrap Tank is really good. The fire is animated, and Premium Vodacon is actually kind of sick. He's got like that like force wave coming off of him. It's pretty wild.
Cool. Yes, those are all good choices. Runner up, just real quick, Vara, the new Vara that came out. That's kind of cool. Nice. I'm just saying, like with the whole Azendel, like amulet, like kind of swinging. It's just like very cool detail in that. But anyway, all right, moving on. I got this question on Twitter, and it's from Ferris Biscuit. He says, "What, in your opinion, are the best resources for playing for new players getting into the game?" So what are the best resources?
Eternal Warcry 100% with a bullet, tier 0. EternalWarcry.com is the best website for anybody trying to learn this game.
Exactly. And then I believe if you go on also Team Ringstar, there's a few beginner articles on there too. So if you just go teamringstar.com, go to their Eternal section, I believe people like I think Notorious or Magikarp, one of those players, they made like a new player's guide. So you can go check that out as well. All right, for the last question, this is from Grimfan, and I saved this for last because it's the best question. What is the secret to Tony's excellent hair? So, Tony, what is the
Tell us your secrets.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the rundown. It's very, very complicated. So, I go to sleep. I wake up.
Okay.
And that's it.
You sleep? How many hours of sleep a night?
It depends, usually 6.
Let's talk about diet. Proteins. Are we getting enough fiber, vitamin C, D, E?
It's that poutine. It's that poutine.
I don't eat a lot of meat. I love salad. And Tofu's gas.
Tofu is sick, dude.
Yeah.
Oh.
About that, yeah. I mean,
All right.
Is diet a thing for hair? Like, is
Yeah, it affects your hair.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know.
All right, so a very fibrous, low-protein diet.
There you go.
Is what leads to delicious, delectable hair.
I used to have an afro. When I was in high school and in college, I used to have like I can maybe try to send a picture, but it was big. I cut it. I had like a fundraiser.
All right, Will, you had a fundraiser? Let's go, baby.
A fundraiser. I just watched The Office where they do that actual fundraiser. So, yeah.
All right, well, we'll put that. If you send us that picture, we'll throw it up on the @FromTheVoidcast on Twitter sometime this week.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, last thing, we've had a review on iTunes, and I know we've had a couple more reviews, and we're trying to get those in, so Avanti, you'll get them to me.
You're cutting out there, Navalis.
I am? Yeah, am I good now?
Yeah, start over.
Okay. All right. There is, we have an iTunes review. I know we have a few more reviews, but Avanti's will get those to us, and hopefully we can read them next week. But this one is from Boyd2029 on iTunes. He says, "This is by far the best Eternal podcast out there." Sorry, Tony.
Eat it, Tony. You suck.
I've listened to several. Nav and Travis have awesome synergy. Why, thank you. They are a breath of fresh air compared to others.
Eat it, Tony.
He's like, wow,
Jeez,
Boyd is going to town.
Okay. The others suck, especially TonyGeeee. I hate his guts.
I can't believe I listened to that SPG pile of garbage podcast once. It made me literally vomit. Anyway, back to From the Void. I love it very much.
Okay, yes. And he says right here, the production value is great, except for today. Sorry about that. They speak in simple terms so casual players understand the game and thought process. They include a guest who usually finishes top 1,000 in Masters, so you hear insight to the meta and strategy to the game. I can't give 10 stars, so I guess 5 will do. Keep it up, guys. Why, thank you, Boyd. Thank you for trashing all the other podcasts out there. And that was...
Dude, that guy, if he ever does a podcast, I'm gonna rate him star.
Oh my god. Oh man. We're gonna get like a terrible review from like Brony G.
There's just gonna be a name with like 5 E's in it, and we know it's gonna be you, Tony. So, oh man. So I know Boyd personally. I've met him before. He lives in Knoxville as well, and so yes, I know who this is. So I think that's funny. So no, I do like Seek Power Gaming. Okay, I will say that is a good podcast. You should go check it out. But I'm sure Tony's gonna talk about it. So let's go into our shout outs and kind of like wrap the show up. So TonyGeeeee, where can we find you? What's your podcast about? I know you just released an episode, so go talk about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, we Paradox and I, we are doing the Seek Power podcast. We're usually focused on competitive Eternal, so we're not stepping on each other's toes. You guys are doing, the casual stuff. We're doing, the actual stuff that matters. That's fine. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, we're focused on competitive Eternal, so we review, deck lists from weekly tournaments, and we talk about what the meta is going to be, and we have usually topics. We talked about rotation this week. So yeah, and besides that, I play tournaments. I don't really produce content except, the podcast. So yeah, you can sometimes see me when I do well on the Eternal streams playing tournaments. And yeah, I actually found out yesterday when you asked me if I had a Twitter. I actually have a Twitter.
What?
Turns out that I made one back in like 2014 when there was some kind of raffle. So I have a Twitter. So I will, I guess, sometime tweet.
Is it at TonyGeeeee with 5 E's?
No, it's at Antoine Geeeee. Like, yeah, it's like, but like the name is TonyGeeeee, but like the @ something is not TonyGeeeee. So it's basically my first name and the first 4 letters of my last name, so ANTOINEGEELI, Antoine Geeeee.
We're just gonna need to get you on TonyGeeeee
Yeah, I know.
don't
Maybe
worry.
I'm gonna have to like remake an account or something.
No, you
I
can
don't
just
know.
change your name. We'll talk about it
Oh,
later.
you
Yeah.
can do that? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I'm a complete noob at everything social media. So.
No one in chat go get TonyGeeee at TonyGeeee on Twitter. I swear to God, if
Come
one
on,
of
guys.
you camps it,
Oh,
I'm
you
coming
better
for
not.
you.
No, no. I'm sure Bassoon is gonna like make an account right now and like.
Please do it. That would be so funny.
It should be the real TonyGeeee with like 5 E's. Okay. And,
Oh yeah.
Real
So-
also has 5 E's.
Awesome, awesome. Any shout outs, TonyGeeee? You want to give any shout outs?
Yeah. Well, shout outs to you guys. I mean, thank you very much for having me.
Oh, stop.
So yeah, it's very nice. I'm gonna start listening to your episodes now. And
Wow.
yeah, I mean, shout out to the tournament scene. Like, if you guys are watching this and you're like on the fence about trying a tournament, any tournament, right? Doesn't need to be the ETS. There's like the ECL and there's the Direwolf tournaments now. Just like try it out. It's a whole lot of fun. People are nice. Well, most people. And yeah, it's
Solid
like,
80% people.
yeah, well, yeah. And if you do well, you're gonna feel great. And if you don't do well, it's not gonna take a long time. So why not do it? Right? And it's free to enter, and it's a whole lot of fun. And that's the best way to actually become a better player. So try it out. That's like if I can encourage people to play more tournaments, and that's gonna be a job well done for me. So like if you want to try it, go ahead. There's one on Saturday for the ETS. There's one on Friday, the casual Friday one, and those are the next two. I don't know for the next ones, but there's like schedules and stuff on the Eternal Discord. So go ahead and check it out. It's a whole lot of fun.
Awesome. Thanks for so much for coming on, Tony. I love you very much.
Definitely.
It's been a pleasure.
I enjoy.
My last question for you is: will you please stream again in the future?
I should. It's like yeah, I should. Every time I stream, I have a lot of fun. And every time it's like I should do more. It's like doing exercise, right? You're like, oh, it was.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
It was nice. I should do it more, and then I don't do it more. But yeah, it's in my schedule. But the thing is, like, the time I allocate for Eternal is usually focused on competitive. So once I win Worlds, I will probably.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Calling your shot right here.
Hey, Kobe. But yeah, I should, and it's very fun, and yeah, I should. But when I will have more free time that I don't allocate into competitive, I will do it for sure, because that's the thing I really want to do more in terms like in Eternal. So yeah, I
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. What about you, Bassoon? Any where they can find you? Your shout outs.
I actually have a couple of announcements to make about my stream coming up. In celebration of the glorious and blessed holiday that is Halloween, I'm actually doing a giveaway on my stream. I'm doing a Halloween/horror themed custom card giveaway contest. So the Google form, I'm going to stream tomorrow morning, and the link to the contest will be in my chat tomorrow morning. If you join the From the Void Discord, I've actually put it in the From the Void Discord. You can find invite links to our Discord on our Twitter at From the Voidcast on Twitter. And so basically what you do is there's a really cool website called eternalcardforge.com where you can build custom cards and save them as like images, and you just fill out the Google form with your image, and I will do a live judging on my stream this Sunday evening, 3 days before Halloween, and we're gonna have a fun and spooky time, and I'm really excited about it. And also, in celebration of the end of Droptober, all the little view bots leaving the Eternal directory, I will be streaming Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, which is much more than I usually stream. And I'm excited to try out a heavier stream schedule.
Very nice. I look forward to it. I enjoy dropping in your stream every now and then and trying to cause havoc. Anyway. Yeah, so it's already havoc, right? So it's just
That's kind of my brand, is just havoc.
Yes. So shout outs for me, Tony G. Thank you so much for jumping on, being patient, especially with me, figuring out the technical side of everything. So, but I just want to also give a shout out, one last thing, to your hair. So if you go, I have. So thank you for sending this picture.
Day, so
yes,
thank you very much.
look at that! Look at that hair, people. Oh man, it's amazing. So but yeah.
Oh,
so,
do you have the picture up on stream?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh yes. I had to throw it up there. Like that is
what
great.
a tasty little snack.
Oh wow, we love you, Tony. We love you, Tony.
Hey.
And so but yeah, so thank you for when I first started Eternal, you the first deck I built was an armory deck based off of yours. So there you go.
Yeah.
Just to let you know. So that's why I was like, when I heard Tony G was going to be on, it's like, yes, I can tell him, like, first deck, like, actually tier 1 deck was an armory deck and it was yours. So there you go. Yes. Yeah.
Fun fact.
My man.
I read Tony G's armory guide and crafted all of the armory cards literally the day it got nerfed. I crafted it around lunchtime, and by the afternoon the deck was nerfed.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
we were both sad, I think.
And that is the day that music died right there. And so it was a sad day when that happened. It was because it was my favorite deck. I love taking that into like events and stuff. That was just so much fun to play, but alas, Direwolf Digital. All right, moving on from that. You can find me on Twitter at WhatTheDeckHS. And then I'll probably start streaming. I'm working on it to start streaming in December probably. So I might do a joint stream with Bassoon. Him and I just can kick off my stream. That'd be fun. And so I don't know. I have to talk to you about that. And so work something out like that. But want to just stream some stuff, and I think it'll be fun. But that's it for me. Also, shout outs to Avanti is our producer for just helping me with all the stuff, helping Bassoon. Just you're a great guy. Thank you for the Hero Power podcast, our sister cast that does Hearthstone. So you can go, if you listen to if you play Hearthstone, go check them out. Also, Hero Power podcast. You can find on iTunes, Podbean, all of that stuff. But I believe that is it. So thank you all for joining us. Any last words before we disappear to the void?
Nope.
All right.
Send us back to where we belong.
All right. We'll see you next week from the void. Later, everyone.
See you guys.